long before the MCU became a multi-billion-dollar powerhouse. A low-budget Saturday morning cartoon was quietly drafting the blueprint, not in theaters, not in prestige animation, but on basic network TV, with cereal bowls, CRT screens, and kids who had no idea they were watching history. This is the hidden blueprint of Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
And how a production pivot, a licensing problem, and one brand new character secretly shaped Marvel forever. In 1981, Marvel animation was not what it is today. No Kevin Feige, no cinematic roadmap, no billion-dollar franchise machine, just Saturday morning programming blocks. Originally, the show wasn't even supposed to feature Iceman or Firestar. The plan was Spider-Man, Human Torch equals a safe, comic-accurate duo. But here's where things get spicy. Licensing complications with the Human Torch forced a pivot, and instead of scrapping the project, Marvel did something risky. They replaced Human Torch with Iceman from the X-Men and a completely original character, Firestar. That pivot changed everything, because Firestar wasn't from the comics. She was invented for television. Let that sink in. An original female superhero in 1981 on a kid's show. That was radical. Let's talk about Firestar. Angelica Jones, created specifically for the show. She wasn't a sidekick. She wasn't a love interest. She was equal power. In fact, she balanced the team emotionally, while Peter Parker had anxiety, while Iceman cracked jokes. Firestar grounded the trio, and here's the wild part. She became so popular. Marvel brought her into official comic canon. That's almost unheard of. A cartoon-created character crossing into mainstream comics. She wasn't temporary. She became permanent. That's blueprint-level influence. Iceman wasn't just there for ice puns. He brought X-Men energy to mainstream TV. For many kids in the early 80s, this was their first exposure to the X-Men, before the 90s animated series, before Hugh Jackman, before Logan memes. This cartoon introduced mutant culture to suburban living rooms. That's not minor, that's foundational. Now here's where it gets modern. The Spider-Friends didn't just team up, they lived together. They paid rent, went to college, dealt with normal problems. This wasn't cosmic mythology. This was superheroes sharing a house. That humanized them, long before the MCU made Tony Stark sarcastic and Thor insecure. This show showed heroes brushing their teeth and arguing about chores. It grounded superheroes. In 1981, that's blueprint energy. Now let's address the elephant in the room. The villains, campy, very 80s, over the top, theatrical, sometimes absurd. But here's the secret sauce. The villains were exaggerated, but the team chemistry was sincere. Peter worried, Bobby joked, Angelica empathized. That emotional contrast kept older viewers engaged. Kids saw action, teens saw dynamics, adults saw relationship arcs. That tonal friction, that's what made it rewatchable. This show quietly pioneered something massive: crossover storytelling. It featured X-Men, Captain America, Doctor Strange, Fantastic Four in one shared animated world in 1981, before shared universes were monetized, before crossovers were algorithm-driven. This show normalized the idea that Marvel heroes coexist. That's the seed of the MCU model, not financially, conceptually. It ran from 1981 to 1983. 3 seasons. Solid run for its era. It ended because animation budgets were tight, Saturday morning programming shifted, toy integration wasn't dominant yet, Marvel animation restructuring began. It wasn't a dramatic cancellation, it was a transitional casualty of an evolving industry, but its impact outlived its runtime. Spider-Man and his amazing friends didn't look revolutionary. It looked like bright colors and cheesy villains, but underneath, it built the template for team chemistry over solo dominance, emotional realism in superhero stories, crossover universes, female hero legitimacy, grounded superhero living situations. It didn't have billion-dollar stakes. It had imagination, and sometimes blueprints aren't flashy, they're just early, before Iron Man, before the Avengers, before the multiverse. There were 3 college roommates saving the world before breakfast. If you grew up with the Spider Friends, drop a spider in the comments and tell me, was this Marvel's most underrated foundation, or the true origin of the MCU formula? Next time, we might uncover another cartoon that secretly shaped modern pop culture. Stay nostalgic, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the blueprint was hiding in plain sight.